Okay, I came across this the other day. It's it's a Linda Moulton Howe thing. I think it's actually from 2006, but someone has reposted it for whatever reason, or it might have actually been Linda Moulton Howe doing something recently, referring to something she did back in 2006. But regardless, to be honest, I think you can put a line through anything Linda Moulton Howe has to say. Just looking at some of her videos, looking at the Earth files, I mean, it's all fanciful twaddle, really. It would be good if there was something to this, but I honestly don't believe there's any substance whatsoever in anything Linda has to say. It's a shame, really. She slid down a very long, slippery slope. I think she was an award-winning journalist at one point. But anyway, I suppose it keeps her busy, keeps her on Skype, keeps her on social media, on YouTube. You know, people phoning her up to do radio interviews and YouTube interviews and all this sort of stuff. It's a lot better than sitting in the corner crocheting and stroking her cat. That's not a metaphor, by the way. If you've watched Earth Files, you've probably seen her with her cats. She does love her cats. Right, now, this is, I think, quite ridiculous, and I'll tell you why. Excuse me. Now, she's already showed us this guy. He was in the Navy for 20 years, and she's got some sort of document there that proves he was in the Navy for the time that he said he was, and he was stationed where he said he was. That's completely meaningless, of course, because people in the military can be stationed, spend the time that they say they're going to be, that they spent in the military, be stationed where they said they were stationed in the military, and then just make up a fanciful yarn about alien visitation or interaction with aliens. It's completely meaningless. I suppose it is something as something is better than nothing, but it proves nothing. It proves he was in the Navy when and where he said he was, but it doesn't prove anything else. Okay, let's see what this guy's got to say.
In 1976, Tom was stationed at White Beach, and at the time he was a seaman apprentice to the staff of Commander Amphibious Group 1. Most of his work was clerical. That Thanksgiving night, he was in the administration building with two other men, Robert Turman and Craig Howard. Howard was mechanically gifted and liked to prove that he could get into sensitive areas that were off limits.
Okay. Does that sound very likely to anybody? One of them was mechanically gifted and liked to prove he could get into restricted areas that were off limits. So what does that mean exactly? He was mechanically gifted and he liked to get into into areas that were restricted or off limits. So this is using his mechanical prowess. So that means he's picking locks. Maybe she means that he can tickle safes. He can listen to a safe and by listening to the clicking in the combination mechanism, he can unlock a safe. But picking locks, cracking safes in a restricted area on a military base, I think personally is highly unlikely. If you're in the military, you're not going to be going around into the administration offices picking locks and cracking safes. You're going to be done. If you're caught doing that, you are going to be done for treason, aren't you?
And that Thanksgiving night, Craig Howard had gotten into a top secret vault that contained.
So he's broken into a top secret vault in a restricted area on a military base. Really?
In classified material, and he was yelling for Turman to join him. Tom Shepard watched as Turman ran.
So he's yelling he's broken into this vault. Come and take a look at this, guys. It's a top secret vault, and no one's keeping an eye on it. It's in a restricted area on a military base, and no one's keeping an eye on this top secret vault. It gets more and more pathetic, doesn't it?
By into the administration office that contained the vault. Shepard wondered what had Howard found that was so urgent? Here now is retired Navy Chief Yeoman Tom Shepard.
With a fairly unimaginative science fiction story.
Discussing what happened next.
And I saw Howard and Topin go into the vault. And they were in there for about 5 minutes.
So he's just sitting back watching two guys break into a top secret vault in his office. He doesn't ask them what they're doing. He doesn't call the MPs, doesn't call the security people. He just sits there, probably with a box of popcorn, watching these two people break into this top secret vault.
And Howard comes out first, and Topin follows. And Topin's kind of got tears in his eyes, and he said that it's...
Yeah, laughing probably. He was laughing so much he had tears running down his face.
true. Well, this really caught my attention, so I was really astounded.
Okay, so he's come out, he's got tears running down his face, and he says it's true. Now, bear in mind, this is 1976. Presumably, they haven't been talking about UFOs. 30 years after the supposed Roswell incident, he's watched them break into the vault. Actually, did he say how long they were in the vault? Hang on, let's just wind that back a bit.
Watched as Terman ran by into the administration office that contained the vault. Shepard wondered what had Howard found that was so urgent. Here now is retired Navy Chief Yeoman Tom.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult moving it backwards and forwards, and I can't really be bothered to sort of edit all this, so I'm sorry. This should only take a minute.
Shepard discussing what happened next.
And I saw Howard and Topin go into the vault. And they were in there for about 5 minutes.
Okay, so they were in there for about 5 minutes. Okay, remember that? They were in there for about 5 minutes.
And Howard comes out first, and Topin follows. And Topin's kind of got tears in his eyes, and he said that it's true.
Okay. So he's got tears in his eyes, not running down his face. He's got tears in his eyes, and he says it's true. Got no context for that. So they've been in this top secret. They've broken into this top secret vault, and in only 5 minutes, they've managed to. They presumably have gone through all the files. And they found a file that that supposedly shows aliens. Now, I think that sounds pretty unlikely, as the Roswell incident was nothing more than a mogul or similar balloon. This is obviously drivel, because he does relate this to the Roswell story, and there is nothing in the Roswell story. This is all absolute rubbish. It doesn't even make sense when you listen to him relating the story.
Well, this really caught my attention, so...
Why would that really catch your attention? You know, now if that was me, I'd gone in there, we'd broken into this top secret vault on this restricted area on this military base. I'm in the military, and I know I'm going to get court-martialed for doing this sort of thing. I'm looking through all these files in this top secret vault, and I happen to stumble across a file relating to Roswell and aliens in only 5 minutes. Once I've opened this file and I've spread it all over this tabletop. Now, bearing in mind, still remembering that I've just broken into this top secret vault in a restricted area. I'm not looking for security people. I'm not worried I'm going to get found out and court-martialed. I'm just spreading these files out and looking through them. Now, in the extremely unlikely event that had happened, if that was me, I don't think I would have come out and said it's true. I think I would have come out and said, hey, come and take a look at this. You're not going to believe this. There's pictures of aliens here. This is just beyond garbage, really.
I was really astounded to hear, this kind of reaction from him. So then Howard, he calls me over and he says, come on in. So I go in there, right, and it's a vault, and it's a small room, and it's got the filing cabinets and the safes. And
Yeah, okay. I think I'll stop this clip there. He's found some documents. There's a lot of red ink. Oh, it's got to be secret, isn't it? There's red ink.
Words was magic, and magic was spelt with a J. And
yeah, okay. That's a nice touch. This would have been, of course, after they after they saw these magic documents. Yeah, I mean that people with fanciful yarns will tend to throw in bits and pieces from other fanciful yarns to sort of bolster the story. Yeah, I think you can put a line through that part of it. I'll just move on to the next clip. Okay, so now he's telling us he's looking at his black and white pictures.
Tone with the kind of skin I had, but if I had to describe it at all, it would have been like snake skin in sort of way.
Sort of matched the snake oil, really.
Can you explain that further?
They had a whitish kind of appearance, but you could tell it had some color to it. And if I had to describe it as matches any other type of animal that I know of, it would have been like that of a white snake, say.
And
yeah, okay. Now, the skin of a white snake. Yeah. Now we do get plenty of snakes out here. I've never looked at one terribly closely. So are they scales on a snake? I suppose they probably would be, because snakes do have to be extremely flexible. Wouldn't be much point in humans having scales, of course, because we're not as flexible as that. You know, you can't, you couldn't bend your arm out in a U shape between your shoulder and your elbow, could you?
could you discern scales?
Not really, no. No, but you could tell that they just looked like bumps, and who knows what they were. And it was throughout. But mostly like on the arm area and on the head area.
And was this being wearing any clothes?
No, you could tell that.
Yeah, because if it was wearing clothes, then he'd have to describe the clothes. That would then require a little bit of imagination. And they'd probably be a little bit reluctant to describe the clothes, because they may very well sound like the alien came from a 50s science fiction movie, you know, sort of high collars and all this sort of Flash Gordon type clothes. So, yeah, it's no surprise there that they don't mention, or this guy doesn't mention any clothes. Now he's going to go on to show us some drawings. Have you noticed that? A lot of these people, they'll show you renditions. They'll show you drawings. They will never show you photographs. Okay, this was supposed to be 1976, I think, so it might have been he might not have had a camera in his pocket. Everyone's got a camera in their pocket these days, yet still we see renditions from some of the more modern claims. Anyway, drawings they are nevertheless.
And here are some renditions of drawings that I made of the photographs that I saw.
Drawings of the photographs.
In Okinawa. And what you have here is a desert and the alien entity. Here's the guy in the jeans and the cowboy boots. Here's the truck. And here's the entity in the truck looking out. And in the actual photograph, though, you could barely make him out because of the angle of the sun.
Yeah, I'm just going to stop this here and move on a little bit. Okay, he's going on to his next rendition.
This is another rendition. This is at the aircraft hangar.
Okay, this is at the aircraft hangar. And curiously, the aircraft hangar has an arched entrance. A little bit odd. I don't think I've ever seen an aircraft hangar with an arched entrance, but still, let's go ahead.
Okay, pretty much this is really a rendition because of the angle and all. I really am not an artist, okay, so I couldn't really draw it to the right angle. But over here is the military man in his khaki pants and his brown shoes, And this is the front of the aircraft hangar. This is the opening here. And I tried to, what really stood out for me in this photograph was the angle of the slants from the panes of the windows from the hangar, of the style of hangar that it was. And here's the alien that's mostly intact, and next to him, or it, is the other alien that was crumpling in a fetal position, and most of its side had been badly damaged. And here's the alien that's next to it, and I tried to make a rendition here of the crumpling and everything, but I didn't do a good job really. But most of its head, as I recall, was badly damaged either through charring of some sort or other damage.
And burned.
Or burned, yeah. Okay. And here's another rendition. Now in the photograph, this is of course all black, okay? But what you're seeing is where the flash took the photograph of what you see here, and it's a gurney in an elongated fashion, okay? And the alien entity laying on top of the gurney. And there you have it. And evidently in the same space, they took a close-up of the alien's head from the neck on up with the same black background. And here it is, as I best recall. And I tried to get as...
So, there is no detail here, is there? He's got absolutely no detail at all. So, I suspect this is down to little imagination. Not because there was little detail on this supposed photograph that he's seen. Now, remember, this is all stuff from a crashed Mogul balloon. None of this is real. There were no crashed aliens at Roswell. This is all twaddle. And why would these photos be in Japan? You know, and but the whole story is just, I don't know, it's just ridiculous. They're still looking at all these photos in this vault that they've broken into on this restricted area on this military base. They're still not being bothered by anybody. Okay, well, let's just, painful as it is, let's continue.
Best to make it look as real as I could by not giving too much detail with the eyes. But the eyes, the sockets are very almond shaped, and they're fatter up here and they skinny down. Okay, they're fatter here and they skinny down. And the blotting I'm trying to describe.
Is that the usual way round? I thought the usual way round was they were fat there and skinnied up, to use his expression.
Right here, okay.
This one's obviously got creeping alopecia. Yeah.
It looks sort of, veiny, I guess you could say, or just bumps. And that was the best I could describe it here.
And this reminded you of reptilian?
Yeah, you could tell that it was sort of reptilian-ish, but at the same time, no, you really couldn't because of the black and white photo, okay? I do recall that its neck was, in comparison to its head, really this skinny, and it had a lot of wrinkles.
As if it were old?
No, as if it was just the way it was. The way it was.
But did that remind you also of a reptile?
Mm-hmm, yeah. I tried to make a description of how long its fingers are and in comparison to its wrist. Mm-hmm. This is a better drawing, okay, of its hand palm in this fashion, all right, without a thumb. If it had a thumb...
Okay, now it has no thumb. So it just has 4 fingers and no thumb, so it's going to have very, very poor physical dexterity. This is very, very 1950s science fiction movie type alien hand, isn't it? The long fingers. Okay, let's just let him continue a little bit further.
It was just sort of a nib-looking thing here, and it did have these slanted tip fingertips, and on the tips you could tell it was sort of a roundness, or what I call a suction cup.
Yeah, with suction cups on its fingertips. I mean, that's completely gone into the realm of the 1950s science fiction movie Alien Hand, isn't it? The long fingers with the suction cups on the end, and no thumb. Now, there's a big problem with this, and I think this is obviously screaming fake, bullshit. Because just try imagining you have no thumb. Use your hands without your thumbs and see how easy it is to write, to use a screwdriver, to lift something. Actually, I'll do another very quick clip, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Well, okay, so let's assume I'm an alien here. I have no thumb, okay? That is not there. I just have 4 fingers. Now you try this at home. Let's try picking up a jar. Pretty clumsy, isn't it? Pick up a jar. Can I pick up the jar in my palm without a thumb? Now you've got to bear in mind that supposedly these are aliens that have built this spacecraft. So they would have had to have gone through an industrial revolution, they would have had to develop technology as their species evolves, just like us. They would have to record information, they would have to build machines, they would have to build technology. Would you be able to do that just with 4 fingers? Oops. Could I see? I had to use the thumb there. There's a bit of extra. To keep the thumb completely out of that, and then use the other hand, which has no thumb either, to undo the top. Even doing something as simple as that. Try making a cup of tea without using your thumbs. How would you write? Okay, there's a pen. Well, actually, it's a mechanical pencil. How would you write? How would you write without a thumb? Everything would be extra clumsy, wouldn't it? So if you've got no thumbs, even holding a pen or pencil is not easy, let alone writing with it. Okay, once you got as far as computers, yeah, no problem. But you still need to go through those phases where you're using your opposing thumb to build things. Yeah, if you want to screw something together, if you want to hold a couple of bits of metal together, and then hold a nut. Have I got a nut and a bolt? If I wanted to put a nut on a bolt, I can hold the nut like that, and I can hold the bolt like that, and I can hold the bolt there and just screw it on. So I'm right-handed, it'd be easier for me to do that. How would I, without the thumbs, hold a bolt here, hold a nut there, and screw it on? So 4-fingered alien with no thumbs, absolute rubbish, ridiculous rubbish. Okay, on to the next clip. Okay, we're back with this.
This is a better drawing, okay, of
fanciful yarn.
Well, if it's hand palm in this fashion, all right, without a thumb. If it had a thumb, it was just sort of a nib-looking thing here, and it did have these slanted tip finger.
Now he's got no detail of the face, but he seems to have the hand in extremely high detail, doesn't he?
Tips.
Oh, actually, no, he's not showing us where the joints are, come to think of it.
And on the tips, you could tell it was sort of a roundness, or what I call a suction cup. Linda, there is nothing on this earth that we know of that looks anything like this. It's not a human being. I'm telling you straight up. It wasn't a monkey. It wasn't an animal of any kind. It was like nothing that I had ever seen, and that's all I could say.
Yeah, and that's because monkeys have opposing thumbs. Nature is very good at designing critters. You know, any kind of critter with hands will have an opposing thumb. Mice, rats, you know, they can all hold their food. You know, nature would not come up with a critter that this guy with a hand as described by this guy. This is pure science fiction nonsense. Okay, well, you've only got to look at pictures of critters on Earth. You know, anything that's got hands has an opposing thumb. As I said in the previous clip, a technologically advanced alien, one that's, you know, building technology, building spacecraft, isn't going to be able to do that without having that physical dexterity that an opposing thumb provides. So this is just science fiction twaddle. Okay, I'll stop this here and see if there's anything else worth doing a clip on in this particular video. What's it called, this thing? It's called "We've All Been Fooled. The aliens are already here and in full control." I'll leave a link to this source video below, but it's pretty excruciating stuff. I think you'd have to be pretty gullible to believe any of it. If there's anything worth commenting on, I'm going to skip through it because it's a bit painful to watch. Then I'll add those after this. If not, as always, congratulations for making it this way, this far through the video, and perhaps I'll catch you again.